Hey guys, it's Katie, and I have another layout to share for Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. And this layout is all about basketball. So if you are a sports mom or dad, this video is just for you. Here is a look at day 3. You can see this sketch. Right off the bat, I'm loving the title on the side, the little grouping of photos, and then kind of the offset. I'm going to use pattern paper, but you could definitely either stencil or maybe even stamp. So I'm loving that. That's the sketch. And then, as you kind of saw, I pulled out these photos of our middle son, his senior year, that I haven't actually scrapbooked yet. And I absolutely love them. So instead of making them squares, I made them strips. And then because it's basketball, one of my favorite things to do with basketball layouts is take an orange type cardstock and then run it through my polka dot embossing folder. So I have that raised look, and we'll be adding some ink to that here in just a second. So make sure you stick around to see how that quickly resembles a basketball. And then because his colors were blue and orange, I have this pattern paper. And then I have this, which originally, was Halloween, but on the back side, it's got that gingham, that nectarine gingham. And then I pulled just a few pieces of cardstock in case I need those. So I'm going to clear my desk, and then we can get started with assembling this layout. So I'm going to pull in a piece of white daisy cardstock, and this is going to be the base of my layout. And then the pattern papers are going to be that kind of offset. And I think the easiest thing to do is I'm going to adhere this down and then just flip it over and trim off the excess. And when doing that, I find it's easier to apply adhesive to my actual layout instead of having a whole lot of extra adhesive that then I have to either remove from the pattern paper or whatever the case may be. So we're going to do that. Now I did go a little in because I'm going to take that gingham pattern paper and I'm going to tuck some strips underneath here. And so I don't want those edges glued down all the way. And then that's going to allow me to then just take a piece or some scissors and just trim that off. So I definitely want the darker pieces. I don't need any more white on this layout. So I'm just going to trim that off and then trim this one. And while I'm pretty sure I could tuck this entire piece underneath there, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. And then the good thing about this is you can tuck it and then you can glue it down. And I like that. So now I'm going to come back with some liquid adhesive and glue down here first. That way it'll have an anchoring point, and this is really quick drying, so it shouldn't take long, and then I can pull up the rest and glue it down. And it is a little skinnier over here on this side, but I think it's good. And then again, we can just trim off the excess. I'm sure there's a quicker or a neater way to do this, but hey, whatever works and whatever's quick. So we've got that part down, and then now we can start working with these photos, and then of course the title over here. Okay, so for the basketball pattern, I have just this Nectarine ink pad because it is Nectarine cardstock, and I am very lightly going over those embossed polka dots. And then I'll turn it around. I want to be careful on the edge because you can see where the polka dots, I didn't do all the way to the edge. Thinking about adding some strip journaling down there. But it's just so cool that you can achieve this look after the fact. You can do the same thing by coloring adding the ink to your embossing folder. But I find that I just have more control if I do it after. So you can see there, it's just so cute. It's not meant to mimic a basketball exactly. It's just meant to kind of give it that look. And we are going to do this straight up and down to kind of give your eye a rest from all this other crazy that's going on right here. And the only other thing I was kind of thinking about is maybe adding some pieces behind this. So let me go just cut some scratch pieces and we can play around with it. Okay, so I cut some pieces. Let's just kind of see. It's so hard to tell what's straight because of all of this. So I think what I want to do is I want to adhere this to the edge. And then do the same thing over here on this side. And that way I kind of have a long piece going up and down of that nectarine. And then I also have some going across. And it's also bringing in that little bit of this gingham paper. I'll just trim these off. Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to tear this. So I'm going to keep this part with Close to My Heart's white core cardstock. I want to tear the piece that I'm keeping. I want it to tear toward me, and that way I don't have a white core. Sometimes I like a white core, sometimes I don't. In this instance, I do not. And then I have this piece that I want to adhere to the bottom too. And then I'll tear it once it's adhered. And it doesn't matter on this one if it's straight or not because we're going to tear it. So I do want to let that dry just a little bit. Okay, so this is dried. So again, I'm going to pull toward me and keep it pretty tight to the bottom of that basketball pattern paper. So we have that. And I pulled out some things from my stash. So these are actually meant for soccer. But then I have some of these. And then I also have some old journaling spots. So these are rub-ons, transparent overlays. No, they're not rub-ons, they're overlays. And then I have these. So I'm thinking about bringing in, if I use this, I'm going to use this for my journaling. If not, I'm going to bring in yellow. Don't ask me why, but sometimes you just got to have yellow in your life, right? So if I have this over here for my title, I can use this. I can use that. Did that. Kind of really gotten away from the sketch there. Okay, so I think I like it. We are going to glue some stuff down and then be finished with this. Just eyeballing that there. So I'm going to tape these down first. And then this whole piece is actually going to be pop dotted with 3D foam tape, so that journaling tag can be underneath it. So right here I'm just trying to get these straight, you know, with equal distance, and then we can tape these down. And then I just kind of want to make sure that it's equal distance between them. That's between them. And if you can kind of tell, I've done my photos where they're looking into each other. That's always a good idea when you're working with photos. And I can tell right off the bat that this one needs to scoot over a little bit. Okay, so then I'm going to turn this over and make sure that it's really glued down. And then, so not to move this, I'm going to use liquid adhesive. I do want to straighten it up a little bit though. Well, what do you know? It's already down. I'm telling you, that stuff dries quick. Okay, and this is what I want to add 3D foam tape to. I have no idea if that's straight. It's really bugging me. You know, it's just so hard to tell when you have, not only do I have this little diagonal thing, but then I have diagonal print. There's that. Flip that over and make sure that that is really adhered. And then I've got these. So I pulled out, I want something on that tag, so I pulled out my new stamp set in thin cut. And so I cut a couple, I always cut doubles. It's just something I do, especially if I have the extra paper laying around. It helps later if I can just put that with the thin cut. So we are going to use this flag right here, and we're going to put, I think we're going to put proud. High five. Nope, we're going to put #1 fan. After all, that's what the stamp set is called. And being that our little end thing is Bluebird, I'm going to ink up the sentiment in Nectarine. That looks like it needs to be over just a little bit. So the good thing about stamping, I could use the other one that I did, but why would I want to do that? The good thing about stamping is you just turn it over and restamp. And nobody knows but you guys. It just lines up perfectly. That way you know where it's supposed to go. I love the little tassel things hanging off the edge. And that's going to be a great spot right here where this little envelope is. And that way I've got the brown that comes over from the title, but it's not, it just doesn't look like I just threw it on there, which is what it currently looks like. So much 3D foam tape where it was overlapping the flower, so I scooted that over a little bit. And so, you know how I usually like to doodle around the edge? I'm not going to do it around the white daisy edge. I'm going to do it right here, and this is another image from that stamp set. So I'm going to ink down You're Awesome. So since I don't have a pen, I'm going to pull out my favorite stamp set again. And I think we're going to go with the stitch. And then I'm going to pull out that Nectarine ink again. And we are going to just make it look like we're stitching around this layout. And I think I'm going to double up. Just right around the sentiment. And that, my friends, I believe is it. So I can cut my memory protector to allow to pull that out. Let's bring the sketch back in. Let's see how thoroughly I messed this up. So I guess I could have gone anyway. I did it like this, and so I've got the title right here. I've got my group of 4 photos, and then I've got the skewed part right there. So that is it. Again, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I will leave links down below to all the products that I used if they're still available, and then as well as links to all the YouTube channels who are participating in this month's 30 Days of Sketches of Christy's Beautiful Life. And yeah, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and sign up for notifications, because I will be posting, I'm not sure every day of March, but I am going to try and play along with the majority of the 30 days. So you won't want to miss a thing. So by hitting that subscribe button and signing up for notifications, you'll be alerted the next time I post a crafty video. Thanks, and have a wonderful Thursday.